Breaking today, South Korea's Constitutional Court has upheld the parliament's decision to impeach President Park. The political fallout, it all comes as North Korea continues to taunt its neighbors with missile launches. This is very serious. Just this week, North Korea fired 4 missiles into the Sea of Japan. And there's now growing fear that the communist country is preparing for nuclear war. So the question now is, given all the focus on Russia, it's in some ways rather distracted people. Isn't our biggest threat right now this crazy man in North Korea who's capable of killing his own brother? Joining me right now, Fox News strategic analyst Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Peters. Lieutenant Peters, it is good to see you. I'm hearing from a lot of people that this is very serious. The former head of the NSA telling me just the other day that we are not spending enough time and attention on this problem, that this is a serious threat. What say you?
Well, the fundamental problem, Trish, is that President Obama in his 8 years made such an absolute mess of international relations, played havoc with one issue after another, and neglected crucial aspects of foreign policy, that the new administration can't just say, well, this is the biggest threat, this is number 2, this is number 3. On any given day, another threat looms the largest. And so while I continue to believe that in long term, the most pernicious and gravest threat is Russia, on a day-to-day basis, I'm watching Iran. Obviously, we're still watching Islamist terrorism. But yes, North Korea, that could erupt at any time because...
Can I jump in for a second?
Sure.
Just so the viewer understands what's at stake here. It's not just, them sending arsenal into Japan. It's also the concern that they could affect us through an EMD, and it would have a direct hit on our infrastructure, basically our electrical grid, which there are reports suggesting that could cost us millions of casualties. If you knock out that grid, it could actually result in starvation for many Americans. Walk me through all of that so the viewer understands just what he is capable of.
Well, he's not capable of hitting us with EMP, electromagnetic pulse, from nuclear weapons or artificially constructed yet. But he certainly will be working toward it, and it's a longer-term danger.
So what is that, and what could it do? Well,
when you set off a nuclear weapon, and there are other ways to do it as well, it sends out an electronic force so strong that it, bye-bye Facebook, it wipes out all your electronics. But it also could, and we don't know fully, we don't fully understand it, but it could theoretically wipe out the entire U.S. electrical grid for months or even years. I mean, you're talking about true chaos because we're not prepared to run this country as survivalists anymore. So that is a longer-term threat. But the immediate threat is attacks on South Korea, on our bases in South Korea. Those missile launches last week were a rehearsal, clearly a rehearsal for attacking our bases in Japan. And Trish, to really understand why this is such a cryptic problem, you go back to the Cold War. In the Cold War, the Russians could destroy us and we could destroy the Russians. We both knew it, but we were both led ultimately by rational people who didn't want
political realism, right? And you don't have political realism here. You got a crazy guy, and it makes it much more complicated.
How crazy.
Colonel, I'm sorry, I got a hard break. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you, Colonel. I'll be right back.